Hello, today I wanted to walk you through how to assemble a spring inside of a tube. And I hope this will help with any form of trying to put a spring on, at least to some extent. And I have my spring made here, which I did do in another video. I think it was a different size, but it'll give you an idea of what to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add what's called mate connectors, and that helps with assemblies. And I'm also going to make the original barrel that I used to make the spring visible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a mate connector to the top center. And what I'm going to change on here is where it says owner part, I'm actually going to get rid of that and connect it to the spring itself as opposed to the cylinder. Because when we bring it into the assembly, we just want the spring. So I want these mates connected to the spring and not to the cylinder. I'm just using the cylinder to kind of help me guide where to put those mate connectors. So I'm going to create that. And I'm going to do the same for the bottom and one for the middle. That way I have mate connectors in different spots. This is completely up to you. In fact, when I do the assembly, I'm not even going to use most of the mate connectors, but I just want to show you how to do the different ones. So that way you need it. Or if you need it, you can use it. So to do the one in between, I'm going to change where it said on entity to between entities. And then I'm going to select the top of my cylinder and the bottom of my cylinder. And what it'll do is it'll put one right smack dab in the middle. And you can kind of see it there when I angle it. And then again, I'm going to delete part one down here. And I'm going to make the owner part the spring. So I'm just going to select the spring and then green check mark and create my second connector. And then I'll do a final one just on the bottom. Oop, sorry, it didn't select there for a second. And again, change the part. So now what I've done is I've created mate connectors on three different planes, so I have something to work with if I need it. Now I'm going to hop over to my assembly where I already have a tube that I made somewhat transparent, so that way you can see kind of what's going on in there. It's just a basic tube, and I shelled it to 0.1 to be able to show you the spring going in there. So I'm going to click Insert, and when it brings up my parts, there is Part Studio 1, and I can bring in just the spring by itself or the cylinder or both. I'm going to do just the spring, and it doesn't really matter where I place it. Select my green check mark here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the spring so it's on the bottom of the cylinder. So I'm going to actually use fastened mate and select my bottom mate connection. I'll angle a little more so you can see it better. And then I'm going to select the bottom mate connection of my cylinder. And it looks like it flipped the wrong way, so I'm going to flip it around. And then I'm going to click the green check mark, so that way we're all set. Now you'll notice, because the mate connectors went to the top of the cylinder, not this cylinder, but the cylinder that was with the spring, it went centered of the actual coil instead of lining up with the top. And then also we have the thickness of this, which is 0.1. So to shift my spring, I'm actually going to go back to where I made it. And I can actually shift these, and I wanted to show this off. So if I double click or right click and edit, if I select move, this is where I can change X, Y, and Z of my connection. I can see where my connection is there. And so for instance, I know that the coil of my spring, the diameter of the actual wire is 1/16 of an inch. So, or 1/8 of an inch. So I know that if I do 0.0625, which is 1/16, see it lines up perfectly with the bottom. But we want to adjust it also for the thickness of the actual tube in the assembly. And again, I know I shelled it 0.1, so I'm going to make it 0.1625 and hit enter there, and then it'll kind of stick out the bottom there. So when I go back to my assembly, hopefully it updated automatically, which it did. So now my spring is actually resting on the inside bottom of this. Okay, once you're all set and you have it the way you want it, which fasten mate should keep it from rotating and everything, just go over here to part two and you can hide all your mate connectors so they're not there for your pictures. Okay, I hope that helps. Thank you for watching and have a good one.